Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a Boeing 737 pilot and a member of PMDG's tech team. On the 22nd of March 2023, Asobo have released Sim Update 12 for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and adjacent to that, PMDG have released a new update for their 737. Now, the primary means of that update, of course, was to get the park and brake working again with the Sim Update 12 version of Microsoft Flight Simulator. However, there is quite a bit more into it. As always, Robert Randazzo has posted the full changelog and a complete update in the PMDG forums, which I'm going to link to you in the video description below so that you can read up on the original. However, for those of you who are too lazy to read it yourself, I'm going to present the most important points to you. Important over here, this is not only going to be about the update of the 737, but also about the electronic flight bag and the PMDG 777. So if you're interested in those two as well, stay tuned. But for now, let's start with the basics about the actual update. So for the latest 737 updates, the most important point, as you guys already know, were the park and brake, which needed a change in order to still work. More on that is going to come later on. But for now, let's review the other changes that there are in the PMDG 737 update. In the forum, Robert goes on to say that they have a tremendous amount of core and structural work going on inside the 737 series currently in order to better support future modularity with the upcoming PMDG Universal Flight Tablet, as well as the pending change to the nav data format. This focus tends to shorten the change list a bit, as most of what they are doing is pretty deep inside the simulation product and won't be visible because it is foundational to support other larger changes. General changes that have been made in this update cycles will be talked about now. So this is a list in no particular order, so I'm just going to tell you what's changed there. And pressing the VNAV cruise button now cancels the engine out cruising page. In the 737-600 and 700, the flap speed limits with the short field package have been changed to match the real-life aircraft. The heading and track until a distance waypoint calculation has been enhanced. Initial EGT on panel state load on the ground with engines off has been changed, so that previously loaded at 350 degrees centigrade, which was quite a bit too much, so this is changed to a realistic value now. There used to be a fuel report error between the FMS and the actual fuel. Now, here's one that I personally quite like, even though it actually is more of a pain in the back, but it is a feature of the real plane, so it's been added now. And that is an automatic transition from climb to cruise and one limit switch upon autoflight system vertical mode change as appropriate. And in reverse to that, a little bit later in the changelog, there is also an automatic change from max continuous thrust to the cruise and one limit switch upon autoflight system vertical mode change as appropriate. So basically this means that whenever you are returning the plane into a climb, it's going to switch to climb mode. Whenever you return it from that climb into anything else, it's going to switch to cruise mode, and that is going to cancel out any MCT selection that you have done earlier. So you need to have a closer eye on that now, especially when you're flying in turbulence. The FMC is now able to accept 0 as a reserve fuel value, and the fuel display should show only a single 0 when the tank is empty on the main fuel quantity indicating system. The descent forecast winds are now automatically requested when the cruise winds are requested, and there is a change implemented to the pack switch and APU bleed N1 logic that was previously wrong. Similarly to that, the target N1 increases with the packs off or bleeds off conditions now. The route winds data can be entered without executing the performance init page now, but it still needs cruising altitude information, and a little cosmetic change on the MCP there. The MCP altitude set to 0 should only show 4 zeros rather than 5. Once again, enhancement of the bleeds, pack and isolation valve switch logic for Toga and one limit boost. And here's one that might be interesting for many of you. That is, glide slope mode is now forced to arm if the ILS approach is defined in the FMC, the correct frequency is set, even if, for temporary reasons, the flight simulator reports no glide slope reception due to distance. So that's quite important. Previously it could have armed glide path mode, which is part of the IAN approach logic, but with an ILS selected in the FMC, that is no longer going to happen now. The planned fuel indication on the progress page has also been adjusted for when a planned fuel is entered. And finally, several issues regarding a go-around have been fixed, and those include, among others, calculation of any distance-based waypoints on the missed approach. So, for example, when a missed approach set flies straight ahead 5 miles and then make a right-hand turn, then previously those 5 miles would have been calculated incorrectly, but that's been fixed now. Okay, let's quickly talk about the park and brake, and after that we're going to move on to the 737 in Marketplace and on Xbox. After that, the Universal Flight Tablets, the new nav data progress, and finally a little bit of 777 information. So we'll start with the park and brake. The SimUpdate 12 beta introduced a bug to the platform that broke the park and brake logic in the 737. This bug took some coordinated work with Asobo to trace down and identify. Asobo will feed a fix for that problem into the platform as they are ready to do so, but in the meantime PMDG modified the 737 to be a bit lenient on the platform problem in order to give mostly normal operation to the park and brake. Most users won't notice a difference, but if you have good hardware, you might be able to set or release the park and brake without having both pedals fully depressed. This is a temporary accommodation until Asobo publishes a fix to the problem, and then they'll return the 737 to the correct logic with another update. Robert explicitly states in the forum that it was pleasant to work with Asobo to hunt this one down and get it sorted out. Okay, let's talk about the 737 in the marketplace then. PMDG have various 737 products in various stages of preparation for marketplace. Microsoft has recently announced changes to the way in which products will be ingested to the marketplace environment, and this will dramatically speed the process in PMDG's opinion. They are still learning how best to manage marketplace builds and updates, and thus Robert currently hesitates to speak authoritatively on release timelines and the like. Obviously, PMDG's update and releases will, through their own systems are fastest, but they are committed to fully supporting releases through Marketplace for those customers who wish to use that portal. PMDG are learning the ropes with the 737 as it was, and they anticipate being able to offer smarter feedback once they have been through the process a few times. Okay then. A couple of you guys already asked under my previous videos about when the 737 is finally coming to Xbox. So there's quite a bit of information in the update Robert posted, so stay tuned for that right now. And I'm going to simply quote what Robert has written in his forum post there. Quote, "Many users have been asking when we will release the 737 on the Xbox platform, and the answer here is similar to above. We aren't entirely sure, but we are working in that direction. Keeping in mind that we have no experience with the Xbox process and that the testing process was just returned to developers by Microsoft, we are in the process of developing our testing and validation process, which involves acquiring specific Xbox consoles as approved devices for testing internally. We are also doing some look forward to how such things as nav data updates and the likes will be handled, as well as ensuring the Universal Flight Tablet will be operable throughout properly on the Xbox console. We are taking our time with Xbox as this is an entirely new arena for us and want to be sure we fully understand what limitations, if any, may exist so that we can properly communicate them to users, as well as working to minimize any platform differences that must be attended in the process. We expect to take our time with this process, and we will update you on this process as we get closer to kicking off a few of the 737s for Xbox. Ultimately, our goal is to have all PMDG products appear on both the PC and Xbox, because it is good for us and helps to increase our market exposure to new customers. For those in the PC simming environment, it gives you an additional flexibility for where you wish to do your simming also." Quote end. So what I'm personally taking from this is that PMDG is not going to stress anything out. With Sim Update 12, Xbox has finally gotten WASM support, so it now supports the basis for the 737. However, PMDG will take their time in order to be sure that such a release happens properly. Alright, let's move on then to the Universal Flight Tablet progress. And I'm going to quote Robert Randazzo once again, as that is probably easiest here. Quote, "We are beginning to experience a slight bit of joy with respect to progress on the tablet development process. We now have the operational performance tool working normally and correctly providing data to the user. This, along with charting capabilities, are two core functionalities that have been the focus of work and will soon be sent to testing for validation. Prior to that, we need to spend some time cleaning up the user interface and UX, as it hasn't gotten any much attention, while we focus primarily on functionality and not prettiness. This is why we don't show you screenshots, by the way." For those who are following along with the difficult gestation of our tablet, here is a quick recap. We opted to toss out the Boeing Class 1 EFB because it is both ugly and rarely used in the real world due to lack of connective functionality. Most airlines have gone to software-driven tablet solutions, and we felt it was a good idea to mirror that change in capability for the PMDG flight crew. This change brings with it a few technical hurdles that had to be cleared because we use an engineering software language to create our simulations, not a script-based language. At the time we began the process, C++ and WASM-based projects like ours had no access to standard networking tools in order to communicate with the outside world. This effectively meant that we had to write the tablet in script language as an independent project and then develop a communication medium between the script-based tablet and the C++-based airplane. That took a huge amount of time and was far more complex an endeavor than we would have liked. Along the way, we got some communication capabilities within the C++ and WASM environment, which eased the pain. Thank you, Acerbo. But we still have some barriers to communication between the two functions that had to be resolved. We are beyond that hurdle now and deep into building out the functionality that uses the capabilities in order to create the tablet operation for you. This is the first time this has been done in this manner within Microsoft Flight Simulator, and it has been challenging at times, but we are pretty certain we have the match won now. Once we get through pulling a pretty interface on the UI UX, it will be out the door for you, and then we'll follow along with more functionality that we think you will really enjoy. Okay guys, almost there. 2 more topics. So, first one, nav data progress. Quote from Robert Randazzo. "I've mentioned a number of times that we are working to expand our nav data reading capabilities to use Navigraph's modern data format. This has been on our to-do list for about 7 years now, but keeps taking lower priority than things like staying in business, but is finally working its way through the development process. It means practically nothing to most of you, except that it will finally allow us to unlock some advanced FMS lateral path management capabilities that we currently mimic, but don't handle precisely as the airplane should. We hope to have this piece in testing within a few months and then we'll hand it off to you. These changes will roll into your 737 as a free update, of course." Finally, PMDG 777 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Development work on the PMDG 777 is sailing along at great pace, and we are looking forward to entering the beta testing phase with this project. As is normal, we are not showing the build to anyone outside of PMDG at this time, but are very excited to begin doing so at the proper time. One point I can make that is executing, to me at last, has to do with the growth in our capability and understanding of the Microsoft Flight Simulator platform. As is normally the case, the longer we work with a platform, the better we get at leveraging its capabilities. And this is proving to be very true with the 777. We are really pleased with how this magnificent new product is coming along, and I cannot wait to show it to you because we think you will also see the positive changes. All in all, things are moving along quite well over at PMDG. We haven't been busy with updates here in the forums, primarily because we are head down on the work and making exceptionally good progress. It is about to get busy again in here, however, as we have many heavy pieces that are about to click into place to enhance your current and new PMDG products. Robert finishes his post by saying, "As always, thank you for your friendship and support, we do most appreciate it." Quote end. So that is the update that Robert Randazzo has just posted. So let's recap once more for the most important things for you to take along from here. 777 update is coming along well, and Robert hopes to be able to show you something soon, whatever soon means. The new nav data is also about to go into beta testing in the next few months, and then it will come out to you. Of course, free of charge, and that new nav data will enable things like radius to fix operations. The Universal Flight Tablet is also in a good state right now, where the operational performance tool has been implemented, and they are slowly working towards ramping it up for some user interface stuff, and once that is done, you guys are going to get previews and eventually going to get it into your hands. The 737 for Xbox is something that they are working on, but that they will take their time with in order to make sure to get along the process and not have any unexpected circumstances coming in. Regarding the PMDG 737 on the marketplace, there have been a couple of changes recently, but PMDG is still learning how to best manage marketplace builds and update, and thus Robert currently hesitates to speak authoritatively on release timelines and the likes. Finally, one more important point that I am repeating over the last couple of days: be sure to update your 737s to the latest version, as some park and brake changes are necessary there, otherwise you are going to encounter problems with your park and brake. Now, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for sticking along for such a long time. I hope that you found this one useful and learned something. If you did, then you can support the channel by liking the video, commenting what you like about it, and sharing it with your friends if there is anybody in your immediate community also flying the 737s and enjoying PMDG's update. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching, and if you really like what I'm doing, you can support the channel using the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below, or by becoming a channel member, which is going to give you exclusive early access to new videos before they are released to anyone else. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to welcoming you all again on a future video.